it's B from BG Eclectic Designs, and today I'll be teaching you how to create this 3D resin geode art. It's not going to come out exactly the same as with resin. Every single piece comes out a little differently. However, I'll be doing exactly the same geode form in the 12-inch and the 3D effect with it. Before we get into the actual geode and how to do it, I just want to let you know that there is few things that are required for you for safety reasons. One, I would wear something that you really don't care that you're going to mess up, like my shirt that's already dirty from painting and other stuff. Something that you don't mind throwing away if it gets dirty or it gets resin on it. It will get damaged. Next thing would be using a mask, a respirator. I happen to kind of play around with mine and figuring out which one I like better. My first choice was just this plain respirator, but then I also wanted to protect my eyes, and using this and goggles was really difficult, so then I invested in a little better mask for me, and that was a full face mask, and trust me, you look really, really cute when you wear it. So that is to protect your lungs and your face and your eyes. So definitely, if you choose to do resin work more than just once or twice, that is something that should be part of your investment, and I will post the links from Amazon where I got them. The next thing would be just regular gloves that you can get anywhere. Make sure you pick the right size so they fit you snug and you feel like you can really work with your hands. I'll be using a majority of my products from my two favorite brands. One, that is exactly where the geode form comes from, is Countertop Culture DIY, and they provide a variety of products, the forms, pigments, colorants, crystals, beautiful crystals, glitter, anything you need, you can get it from them. But I also love my company Just For You Online UK, and they provide a variety of colorants that I also love. So I couldn't just pick one, so I go with my two favorite ones. And I have just different glitter, different pigments from them that I'll be using. So all their information also with coupon codes are gonna be linked below for you to use. They were very generous and decided to give it to you guys, this promotional code, so you can get the same product at a discounted price, which is pretty awesome. The other random little pieces are probably gonna come from Amazon, and the link is going to be below in the supply list as well. Thank you, and in a minute we're gonna get started. Okay, well, we're gonna get to it. I'm going to explain a little bit about the geode itself and about the steps that we're going to take. So as mentioned, my geode form is going to be 12-inch. It has already some edges, but what I did, since it's a drying process and I wanted to have that done already, I mixed that last night and I allowed it to dry. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the 3D crate from the Countertop DIY, and it's a powder. So as long as you mix it that the consistency is what you want, you don't want it too loose, you want it kind of thick, so you can spread it and make the edges firm, and you can make them as tall as you like, as bulky as you like, or as flat as you like. This is kind of what I like. It's not really thick. It just gives you that little bit of definition. And since it's already dry, what I can do is just take a little bit of a sandpaper and sand it down. So wherever it's really rough, we can just send it down. It dries really well and pretty fast actually, but I just wanted to make sure that for me to pour resin that it's nicely prepped. And you probably want to do this part first before you prime it, so before I put all my colors. See, like this one is actually a little tall here, so I'm just going to take away and scrape away a little bit of it. I would just take regular chip brush and make sure you put dust away so there's nothing flying on here when we're gonna spray it. I'm going to use spray paint, and since my geode is going to be in blue and purple colors, I'm gonna do the inner part gold and then the outer part I'm gonna prime it blue. So I would just put the spray paint. Probably a little more around. And I'm gonna do the edges gold, which later on we can actually paint, but I'm sure now you know why I was talking about the respirator, the mask, so you stay nicely safe. For the purpose of this video, I'm not going to be wearing my respirator, but I normally would because safety first. So next step that I would do, I also, for the 3D part, you also want something that's wooden and strong. I like to have it more depth, so this is just a regular small frame that I'm going to use for this geode, and I'm going to just place it underneath it and mount it on so you actually get that 3D effect once you put all the crystals. But we're going to start with this part first. So I already have my gun preheated, and now it's kind of going to be just playing around with placing of my crystals. I'm going to be using the 1 inch and also the 1/2 inch small ones. So that's going to be my choice. I will also be using those companies' crystals, quartz, the crystallines, and crystal chips. So I'll be picking which one I like most, just because that way it's easier for me just to kind of have them laid out, and I can decide on the actual shape or size for that. So let me just look at the ones I have. These ones are little bigger ones. They are from Just For You. These are from Culture. So I'll have these next to it so I can actually put which ones I'm going to use. probably going to be something that I'll place as I go. So when your gun is ready, I usually just test it out. I could tell that it's ready, and I will take my crystals and slowly start placing them. So I am going to be doing this. You'll see part of it, and I don't want to bore you, so I'll just get into it. At this step, I am going to measure exactly where I'm going to put my kind of what it looks like shadow box, so I know how to fill it. As you see, I have still some crystals, plastic ones, and on, so I will show you as much as I can, but then I'm just going to take this and glue some big rocks around the edges, so when you look in it, it can look like a real 3D depth piece. They're going to be mounted well with resin once we pour it on, but because the glue gun holds it really well is why I do it, to make sure that they're all nicely stable. So I'm going to just go around and glue the large ones all over. So this is kind of trial and error. You're going to have to do this a few times. So now I'm going to peek in there. And I don't know if you can see it, but in here there's going to be an underneath part that I'm going to have to put some crystals on. As when you peek, you can see them. Sits very well in there. So there is one opening here that I see. We have to put the stone. And now I would say I'll probably put just a little bit glue on the corners so I can mount this. And so while I'm working on it, it stays secure. Perfect. Just for the time being. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep placing some crystals. Build up some of the actual quartz. So let me see which one I feel like. The next part of our video is going to be the resin part. For the purpose of the video, I am not going to be putting my mask so I can speak to you guys, but definitely going to put gloves. I love mine to be really snug. That way it really allows me to still feel like I'm just working in with my hands and not like overly too big gloves. So make sure you find your size and find something that's comfortable. Okay, and also for the purpose of this video, I am going to be using the small parts of resin. So if you're just a beginner and just starting, this is an easy way to mix it. When you have a project this size, this might be enough, it might not. I have more, but if this is enough, then it would be easier for you to understand it. You need to use directions on every resin. This particular one is part A and part B, and they are equal parts. So the bottles are actually 4 ounces and 4 ounces. So what I will do, I'll pour them to one container and just mix them. You'll see that happening. However, if you were to use a gigantic gallon, which is what I normally use, it would be probably helpful for you to get a scale and weigh it, or buy these measuring cups, and then you put let's say 2 ounces of resin and another 2 ounces of the hardener. But like I said, read directions, or go with the best resin ever, which is Counterculture DIY, and I love it. It's thick, it goes a long way, so that's my to-go-to. So we're gonna do that. So I'm going to put, I'm gonna open it and just have this bottle go all in. A great thing with resin is to mix it slowly. I'm not really helping it because I'm creating bubbles as I'm pushing it out. I'm not really waiting. Normally I would just be waiting for it to slowly come out and not create many bubbles, but I don't really have the time for it, so I'm kind of forcing it out to make sure that we have it out and we're not waiting hours. And as you learn with resin, any bit counts, and I try to never waste my resin. So I have few molds, and if there's some leftover colors or pigments, I mix them and I just pour it into my mold, so that way they don't go to waste. Depends on which resin you also pick. There's a different working time. Normally you would have between 30 to 45 minutes working time in the right temperature. So also read the label. Don't do it in a too cold of an environment, and definitely don't do it in a hot room where you don't have the control of the temperature. That's kind of important. We're almost there with the part A. I'm going to try to multitask here. Let this one drip. And like I said, 4 ounce and 4 ounce, and I'm just going to add the hardener to it, part A. And you could probably tell in my cup that I have some bubbles, and I will explain how to get rid of them. Slow mixing is one solution, and then when you use heat, that releases the bubbles too. Both parts in. Now we have to mix for a good 3 minutes to make sure both parts are equally combined. So as I told you yesterday that we were putting all those little crystals all over, we're going to seal it with resin. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a small amount and just kind of drip it all over it to make sure that if there are some loose stones, they get really nicely sealed. So I'm going to do the outer side first. I don't want to put too much because I don't want it dripping down on the form. I just kind of want it to drip in between the crystals to settle in its place. And I wasn't planning on using anything extra on the crystals, but I've received those just amazing products from my friends in both of my companies that I probably will want to practice some of it, so you guys could see what it looks like when it's used, and it's probably just going to add so much more shine to those crystals. Okay, so as I did the outer part, I'm going to now drip some on the inner side. When we heat it up, it's going to, resin is self-leveling, so it's going to kind of spread itself on a flat surface, so I'm not really worried about it. Now that we have this, I'm going to pour it into a few of the little cups. I love those little small plastic cups. I can throw them away. There is really no rhyme or reason of how much you're going to use for each pigment. That kind of tells you there is maybe like 1/3 of the cup in here. It's probably going to be based on the main color that you want to see in the piece. So since I'm kind of going to do it multicolored, I'm going to pour it into a few different cups. I'm going to put some, so I have this beautiful chameleon violet blue. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it is just a stunning shimmer. I love it. So I'm probably gonna use this in just a clear. That's from Just For You. But then this one is the Pixie Party, and it's more like flakes, but they actually go together so well. So I might see if I want to use it on top and just make that shimmer even better. So I'll figure that out. Okay, so I'm going to be using the metallic gold metallic pigment from Just For You. That's going to be the gold that I'm going to kind of gently spread around. Really, you don't have to put much, so this will go a long way. I will be using the blue Sapphire pigment. So this is actually a liquid, so it's not like a powder. You can have them in powder, or you can have them in a concentrate. So you use a little bit of this and a very little bit of this, because they do go a long way. So we're gonna put this one here. So I'm just gonna kind of drip it down. And I'm gonna use this stick so that way I'm not wasting my product. Okay, so I'm gonna stir this one out, and I'll show you how it looks like. See, it's such a beautiful, rich blue. It's beautiful. And if this is too much, I mean, this is the color that I would like up. See, I have a little glap here. I'm glad I noticed that. on my stick. Well, you want to make sure that thing goes out. That's probably a hair or something. We don't want it, so you make sure that when you mix it, it's flawless. Perfect. So this is very rich for me. I love it, but you can put a drop and make it super light blue. You can put a lot to make it really deep blue. So it's up to you. Or I'm gonna put some resin into my gold. And I'm gonna mix that. I mean, this is just beautiful. I don't know if you can tell, but the color is just so rich and beautiful. So then I'm going to do purple. I'm going to do the purple, and I'm going to use the purple in this little cup. I actually have a little stick there. I'm just going to use the small one to mix. Just a little bit. It's probably going to be a lot anyways. Oh, I love this color, so I'm probably going to make a little bit more. I'm going to put some more resin in here where I put other pigments. Probably gonna add a little bit of that chameleon blue purple in this. That's gonna make it beautiful. I could already see it changing color. I mean, you can do so much with those gorgeous pigments. I'm going to do the chameleon red, violet blue. I'm going to use this one right in here. So here we are, guys. As I was showing you part of the process, I did not realize that my camera is set to record only 20 minutes at a time, and I had my 40 minutes of resin work, and I was just very, you know, focused on finishing and getting it done. So what happened was only part of it got recorded. So this is what I came up with after I realized that I didn't show you half of it. But what I'm going to do is I have a smaller geode that I was working on, and I wanted to do different colors. However, I decided that I can use it to actually show you the process. So I already pre-mixed the colors. We'll go back and go over exactly, and now I can actually show you how I have done this geode. And maybe with this one I'll actually go and do some glitter where the other one I didn't. So I'm gonna glue up, put some gloves on. So I'm sure my husband told me that the camera does that and it only records 20 minutes at a time, but of course I probably didn't listen and end up making the boo-boos. So here we are all over again. So in the other video we've already done the clear around it. I already pre-mixed my beautiful blue deep pigment. I got into mixing the purple, I also did my gold, and then I did the, this one is the Chameleon Red, White, and Blue by Just For You. So I also used the purple from Just For You online. I did their metallic gold, and this amazing blue sapphire. It's actually a colorant. It is actually a liquid, so you only need like a drop of 2, depending on how vibrant you want the color to be. This one is the multi chameleon, and this one is chameleon blue and purple. So it's this. So we have all that done. I'm probably gonna get a little sticky, so I have my tissue. So the very first step I did is I usually this one I have to elevate because, as you can see, I don't have the bottom done to it. I don't know what else I'm gonna do with it. However, it is gonna be the 3D. So I started with the gold, and I just go around kind of catching some of the crystals, and I'm pouring the resin all over in like this circle. You're gonna notice that it might go a little further on one side. It's all gonna beautifully blend together once we start pouring the other colors. I think I was trying to show you guys the actual process of mixing resin, which happens to be a long one, and that's what took so long in that previous video. It's not fun process, but I thought it was important. It's kind of like what Jennifer always mentions. It's like watching paint dry. It's kind of painful sometimes, but it has to be done, and I thought, hey, might be helpful. Well, now I know it took way too long, so we get this part done. We just kind of circle around. As you probably noticed, I dripped some here. You can always just wipe it off if you don't want it. It's not a big deal. The one after this, I did the very deep blue sapphire, and I kind of just, as I was saying, there is really no rhyme and reason of exactly how it's really what your inspiration tells you and how you kind of want to imagine. This is just to give you a base of how I do it. If it's not attaching, I'll just push it in a little bit so we know that the pigments are together. This one is smaller, so I'm not gonna pour too much of it because I want to make sure that I can still show you all those different beautiful colors, and there'll be pictures for both. And the next one that I pour was the chameleon one. So this one was a thinner pour, and I just went around and circled. So this kind of all goes in circles. And when you have a different geode, if you kind of want to pull the form closer to its actual geode edges, is kind of what I did with the purple color. Not with this color yet, but with the purple. And I'll show you that. And now purple. So just for reference, I don't know if you guys were able to see it, but I want you to, for half the cup of this size, I put about this much, which is just like I would say like a pea size. And then you go from there. So you put some in, you mix it, and then you decide whether you feel like it's not pigmented enough or is it too much and you need to add some resin. So that's the beauty of resin, is you can always kind of play around. The timing is sensitive because you only have a certain amount of time to work with resin before it starts actually really hardening. Don't give up. It happens to all of us. The next step that I did, which I can't use the same Q-tip, not Q-tip, toothpick, is I take this little gadget and I kind of play with the pigments and I try to blend them just slowly first. And after I do that, I torch it. And the reason we do, because you might not see it, but it creates little bubbles. And you might be able to actually notice as I torch it, they all go away. And that beautiful color of the pigment actually comes through. That also heats up the resin and it allows it to float and beautifully blend together. So it depends on how much you could actually see how beautiful the gold is spreading. Depends how much you heat it up is how much movement you're gonna get. So now it's gonna be really easy for me to blend the colors. And you can see how wonderful this color looks. Okay. So the next thing we will do is I'm going to put, I feel like I need a little bit of gold here to even it out. I'm going to put a little more resin that I did exactly the same thing. I had the really deep blue and I did that on the inside. And then I added a little bit more resin to make it a little bit less pigmented blue, just a bit lighter. And I added this beautiful blue pigment and literally I just sprinkled it on because the base is already the pigmented sapphire blue and this will just give it a little bit of that shimmer. It's still pretty dark, so it's just a bit darker than the one like I said, just a tad darker. It might be because this geode form is smaller than the other one, so I didn't use up as much resin, and I probably mixed exactly the same amount. But I'm gonna go all around here and just fill in the form. I actually tried. I dripped a little bit of blue, so I'll drip a little bit of gold. Perfect. And now I'm gonna just, it's kind of like the iridescent blue. And I'm just going to go around and slowly bring in and just enough to make it pop. Because when you use the heat is when you're really gonna see the color. Again, my little tool. Okay, and now we're going to put a little bit around the edges. And around the edges here later, I'm just going to put a little bit of gold. So before I blend it, actually I just want to make sure that I have this off of the edges, so you kind of want it to look like you made that form. Okay. Okay, let me torch that a little bit. So as I was saying, or at least trying to say in that video, is that when I was painting furniture, brush was my main tool. And with resin, I have to say that definitely torch is something that I need, and I've got burned many times, so be careful using it. And what I'm going to do is you can also use the heat gun. However, the pressure of the force on the heat gun is a little different than this, so with this one you have to kind of be careful because you don't want to introduce it too close. It's just going to blow everything. Creates that movement. Chameleon multicolor. I think that was red, violet, and blue. It's just beautiful. Just going to pour a tiny bit of gold. Okay, let's torch it. so you can see up close. And since it has to sit still, I can't really show you flipping it. But this is what it looks like right now. I'm actually gonna move it this way. And I'll be right back. Since I have a little bit of a pigment left, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put it on the edges where I made my, some of them, they might actually drip down into the geode, which is okay. Because the other one was so much bigger, I didn't have much resin left, so I didn't do that. But that's just something you can do, you don't have to. I'll probably try and see if I can put some little gems on it. Oopsie. I have a little bit of resin left, so I need just a dab of. And the thing is with this beautiful geode is that I just don't think I need the glitter. I have gorgeous glitter. I mean, look at this glitter. It's just stunning. This one and this blue one. I mean, it's just, and look at this, the unicorn. And this would look amazing, but I feel like the blend of those colors, it's so sophisticated. It's just so rich by itself that I don't think I need it. I'm just probably gonna let it go. The only thing that I might decide to do, I think this is it for now. Hey guys, so today everything is already dry and I can show you the final product. This is the big 3D geode that we started with all the crystals and beautiful shimmer. You did see me pour exactly the same color combination onto this smaller 3D geode because my camera ran out of time. So this is exactly the same layout, the same colors. It's just in a smaller geode. Everything step by step. I hope that many of you will try my look and achieve great results. Once again, I want to say thank you to Counterculture DIY and Just For You Online UK. Those are two amazing companies that can deliver pretty much everything that you need to complete this look. And keep on creating. Thank you. Bye.